and welcome to Two-Player Quest, where I help you on your quest to find the best two-player board games for you. In today's video, we have Finspan by Stonemaier Games. In Finspan, you play as a marine researcher, observing fish in their natural habitat. You spot fish and observe how they populate to score points in this wingspan game. But is 2 observers enough, or would you be better off with more? Let's dive in. Finspan is a game for 1 to 5 players that plays in 45 to 60 minutes. It's at a 2.34 on Board Game Geek for complexity, so it's quite an easy game. And I would call this a medium luck game. It all depends on the fish cards that you are drawing. If they're in your favour, you are going to win this game. If they're not in your favour, it's certainly a lot harder. So that's why it is a medium luck game. This is what your player board will look like at the start of a 2-player game. Now, I am playing with the deluxe editions, so you have fancier fish and fish eggs, otherwise you get paper. On your left-hand side, you will see the two sides of the reference sheet. You will see the progress / sort of week markers, your board, your current fish, the stocks of fish, schools, eggs, and the deck of fish cards. Every player starts with 2 starter fish and then gains 3 fish from the deck. All fish show their cost here, where they can go on your board here. So this one, for example, can only go in the sunny area, the amount of points, how big it is, and what benefits it will give. So this one, for example, gives a benefit every time a diver goes down that row. Other cards can give an end-of-year bonus, or just a one-time bonus. A game consists of 4 weeks, and every week you have 6 actions, as illustrated by your divers. You can either place a diver on the spot fish section, after which you pay the cost of the fish, as shown here, by discarding 1 card and 1 egg. And then you place it in the appropriate area, in this case the sun. This is now the player's discard pile. Every player has their own discard pile. The other action you can do is diving down one of the columns. Now every column gives their own special things. The blue column, as you dive down, gives you cards at every spot, but only if you have a fish in that area. So for example, here you now have a fish here, which gives you 1 card. You do not have a fish in this area, but you do have another fish here. So you would in total get 2 cards. And the first time you do this action, you also gain this extra action at the bottom, which allows you to take back 1 card from your discard pile and put it back into your hand. So for this action, you would gain 2 fish and take the fish that was in your discard pile back. On purple, you gain extra eggs, and on green, you hatch eggs and move your fish around. So you can move your fish horizontally or vertically up to wherever it wants to stop. So it can stop here, but you can also go all the way to where it needs to be. As soon as there are 3 fish in one spot, they change into a school. Schools cannot be disbanded and now move as one entity. You also can't move schools through schools, and there can only be 1 school per area. After doing your 6 actions, you gain the achievement points on the board. So in this case, you would get 1 point for each egg and or young one. In this case, we only have 1 egg, so that would be 1 point. In week 2, you get 2 points for every row of fish. In week 3, you get 2 points for every school. And in week 4, you do the game ends abilities in any order. And then you score points. And then you score points and you can record them on the piece of paper. At the end of the game, the player with the highest score wins. Finspan is an extremely easy game to teach. I would give it 5 minutes because the basics can be done in a few sentences. You have 2 types of actions. You either play a fish card by paying its cost, or you dive down a row. That's it. If you can understand that concept, you can play this game. So 5 minutes for iconography and what everything does, but you can get started very quickly. I would recommend Finspan to people who like Euro games, who like to have the sort of different ways of being able to collect points, because you can have more eggs, you could go for trying to make schools, you can go for high point fish, eating more fish that would gain you points. So there are a lot of options to take. If you also liked games in the Wingspan franchise, as I'm going to call it for now, then this is also a great fit. It's just a different theme. Having said that, there are a few differences that I've noticed in Wingspan, one of the other games that we have played, and now Finspan, is in Wingspan you had a lot more access to different birds. So you had all these bird cards and you had so many of them that you could choose which ones were best for you. In this game, that's different. In this game, you have quite a limited amount of fish that you gain. So you really have to adapt your strategy to the fish you get and not sort of the fish you are hoping for. So that is something to take into account when looking at this game. Finspan and basically the whole Wingspan franchise just isn't our cup of tea. We like to build up in our games. We like to feel like we're going somewhere, and in Finspan, all you're doing is making a strategy to win the most points. That's it. Nothing more, nothing less. So that's just not something we enjoy in our games. Plus, if one person is winning, there's basically nothing you can do to stop them. So if one person is getting okay cards and someone else is getting absolute crap cards, it's just not that enjoyable. Not to say that this is a bad game, but we just don't like it that much. We don't mind playing it now and again, but it's not something we will personally bring to the table. So this is one of the games in which I say, there's a game for everyone, but not every game is for everyone. And this just isn't the game for us, but maybe it is for you. As there is basically no player interaction, except for a tiny bit of a positive one sometimes, depending on the cards, it doesn't matter if you're playing this with 2 or with 4. The only difference is going to be the amount of time it takes in between your turns and the amount of time the game takes. And that brings us to the end of the video. Thank you so much for watching our review of Finspan. If you have any comments, feedback or suggestions, put them in the comments below, and I look forward to seeing you next time on 2 Player Quest.